quite clear that we are seeing the beginnings of a cover-up here. Did anyone in the Prime Minister's office at any time communicate with anyone in the former Attorney General's office on the matter of the criminal prosecution of SNC-Lavalin?
The Globe and Mail reported this morning that Trudeau's office pressed Jody Wilson-Raybould to step in to help Canada's largest engineering and construction company in its legal dealings with prosecutors. Justin Trudeau says the story is false. But as David Cochrane tells us, Wilson-Raybould herself is staying silent.
It seems like an explicit denial.
The allegations in the Globe story this morning are false. Neither the current nor the previous Attorney General was ever directed by me or by anyone in my office to take a decision in this matter.
Until you parse the words, which is exactly what the opposition did.
It obviously sounded like those words were written by a lawyer, not the Prime Minister's own words. He refused to answer questions about whether or not there was any interference. He kept coming back to a very carefully, legally vetted response.
The focus is on Trudeau's use of the word directed, which is not what the Globe and Mail reported. The newspaper says Trudeau's office pressed his former Justice Minister to intervene in the SNC-Lavalin case, and she refused. The construction giant is facing criminal charges for allegedly bribing Libyan officials to get contracts. A conviction would mean a ban from doing government work for 10 years. The pressure, according to the Globe, was to allow SNC-Lavalin to pay fines and restitutions instead of facing those criminal charges.
Are you saying categorically there was absolutely no influence or any pushing whatsoever in this?
The allegations reported in the story are false. At no time did I or my office direct the current or previous Attorney General.
Minister of Veteran Affairs.
Jody Wilson-Raybould was moved from Justice to Veterans Affairs in last month's cabinet shuffle. The opposition sees a link.
When the now former Justice Minister refused to drop the fraud and corruption trial against SNC-Lavalin, she was fired. Again, did anyone in the Prime Minister's office communicate with the former Justice Minister about this case, yes or no?
Neither the Prime Minister nor his office put my predecessor or myself under pressure, nor gave any directives. These allegations contained in the Globe and Mail, Mr. Speaker, are false.
The new Justice Minister did a lot of talking today. The former minister who could settle this did none.
What's your reaction to the Globe and Mail story today, please?
I don't have any comment.
And were you pressured by PMO, ma'am? Anyone in PMO?
Okay, David, so Jody Wilson-Raybould could probably bring some clarity to all of this, but she is not doing that right now.
No, she's not at all. She's refusing to talk on camera, as you just saw. So I followed up with her office, and in particular, I asked them, does she endorse the Prime Minister's statement that there was no direction or no pressure of any kind? And again, I got another no comment. So here you have a cabinet minister refusing to back the Prime Minister in public, which is a real problem for this story because it gives it a lot of fuel. Now, as for the Prime Minister's office, they are adamant there was no direction, there was no pressure of any kind, and they're rejecting the suggestion that Jody Wilson-Raybould was shuffled out of the Ministry of Justice because of this. They insist that if Scott Bryson had not told them he was resigning and retiring from politics, there would have been no shuffle, and Jody Wilson-Raybould would be the Minister of Justice right now.
Okay, David Cochrane in Ottawa tonight. Thanks for your work on this. So allegations, as the Prime Minister's office says, but there was a possible alternative to criminal charges in the SNC-Lavalin case, and it's something called a Deferred Prosecution Agreement, or a DPA. It's a new process in Canada just since last fall, but what is it, and how does it fit into this story? A DPA is kind of like a plea bargain for economic crimes like fraud or bribery. Criminal charges are dropped if the accused admits to wrongdoing. Usually it pays a big fine, gives back any benefit it received, and promises to make corporate changes. They are pretty commonly used in the US and the UK. In this case, the RCMP laid fraud and corruption charges against SNC-Lavalin in 2015. But today, SNC says those responsible no longer work for the company, and it's beefed up its ethics and compliance rules. That's why it's been pushing for a DPA. Federal prosecutors said no, and that's when, the Globe and Mail reports, the PMO allegedly pressed the then Justice Minister to pressure prosecutors to reconsider.